Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video we're reviewing the Tommorow People Season 1, Episode 10, Death's Door. Mixed feelings about this episode and this show overall. I want to not just talk about this episode, but the problems that I'm having with this show. There are a lot of problems I'm having with this show, and there are things that they're doing right, but there are a lot of things they're doing wrong, which I'll get to. But, let's first get to the episode. So the episode began right where the last one left off. John's captured, he's in trouble, he's threatening Jedikiah, he's unable to teleport away, and he's fighting with Ultra. He's dragged into a torture session with the Founder, and he wants to know the location of the Tommorow People's lair. So Karen and Russell decide to try to get John back by kidnapping Jedikiah's girlfriend Morgan, who also happens to have powers, and Karen negotiated for John's freedom by baiting Jedikiah with Morgan's freedom. It looks like Jedikiah really does care for either Morgan or John. Here's my problem with Morgan. She should have been introduced Season 2. Why? Because we're already seeing Jedikiah has a caring heart. This is not what I wanted to see. I want to see, Jedikiah be the big villain this season, introduce the Founder Season 2, have Morgan come in Season 2, then we could have all of this. And that's one of the problems I'm having. It's not like a huge problem, but I feel like they should wait a little while to show that caring heart that Jedikiah has. I mean, there's shows I've seen that does that. For example, Once Upon a Time Season 1, Regina was very mean. Was just really a mean person. She didn't seem like she had a heart or anything. And then Vampire Diaries, when Klaus was first introduced, he was just like this really sadistic villain. And then they could have done this. I don't understand why they're doing it this way, and I'm not a fan of this. So the Founder let slip John's, but this part I really like. He let slip John's biggest secret right in front of Steven, and his secret was that he killed Steven's father on purpose, and Steven is not shocked about this at all. In fact, I think it's probably because he saw his father saying Thanatos a few weeks back, so that was interesting. So Jedikiah says goodbye to John sweetly despite John's obvious displeasure, which includes spitting, and Jedikiah confronts Steven about Kara's powers, and Steven reveals his love for her. Now, this is annoying me. I don't like this love triangle. We'll get to that in a second, though. So John then takes Steven hostage. He teleported out of Ultra, still preserving his cover, and Kara brings Morgan to Jedikiah as promised. However, she returns with Kara in order to be safe, and Jedikiah now has a chip implanted as it looks like Ultra no longer fully trusts him. So Steven tries to find his dad through stopping time mid-jump, however is unsuccessful despite John's help. He even turns to his mother, who knows a bit more about Thanatos than previously thought, and Steven gets to watch some old videotapes of his father attempting to stop time with Dr. Crick's help. When he goes to visit Dr. Crick again, he gets a little information about stopping time. He has to die before he can be in limbo, and Ultra interrupts the moment and shoots Crick. Remember, Crick was hiding in before the Tommorow People sought him out. Now, this I liked seeing. I like seeing how Ultra used to be this organization that helped out the Tommorow People. This I liked. Problem was, they did not focus on this in the episode. They're really not focusing on this. The Founder also reminds Jedikiah to kill Morgan, and he agrees. What a nice way to treat love. Well, that was really sweet. That wasn't very sweet at all. It wasn't nice of him. And the thing is, we just saw Jedikiah, look like he cared for Morgan. And, it was interesting. So Jedikiah meets up with Morgan, only a shooter, and fakes her death because Morgan showed back at the Tommorow People's lair. So, no harm, no foul. And then we get to probably the stupidest scene that we had in this whole episode is that Karen and John complicate the relationship by fighting over the fact that John killed Roger, and Steven throws a goodbye party with Astrid and his Tommorow People friends, only Astrid is unaware that Steven has to die to find his father. And this is supposed to be like the climax of the episode, basically, and this was probably the most boring scene for me. I was not a fan of this scene. I don't like Astrid. Astrid needs to go away. Astrid is ruining this whole show for me. Here's the thing. Why is Astrid ruining the show? She's not a Tommorow People. She's not part of Ultra. She's just Steven's friend, and I don't think she's necessary on this show. A recurring character, fine. If you want to introduce somebody who sometimes talks to him, fine. but not like Astrid is. I don't like how she is in love with Steven and how he's in love with Kara, but yet Kara's dating John. It feels very soap opera-ish to me, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. So John stops Steven's heart, and Kara tried to make sure he was all right and would not suffer brain damage while under. She understandably freaks out when it looked like he was not going to make it, and the love triangle became even more complicated. However, Steven survived and saw his father, and he basically said, we need to find his body. So that's how the episode ended, and I was left this episode feeling very underwhelmed. There was a lot more I would have wanted in this episode. I would have really wanted to focus on John killing Steven's father, which we didn't really focus on. We focused more on how Steven can, stop. I didn't like that Steven didn't really, had any remorse over it and didn't really feel upset that he killed his father. I would have wanted to see Steven just beat the crap out of John. And you know what the problem is with this show? You have a main character here, Steven, but he's very, very wooden. I have not seen Steven do anything that makes him my favorite character. In fact, I don't have a favorite character on this show because the characters keep changing for me. The characters there's no character on this show that I can really love all the way. I don't feel connected to many of the characters on this show because of the bad decisions they make. All the characters on this show make very, very bad decisions all the time. And they're not, really responsible. They don't seem to care if something bad happens. Like, for example, this has happened twice now. First time was when Steven slept with Kara. John felt nothing. He didn't do anything. But then when, Steven finds out that John killed his father, I would have wanted to see a really big scene between the two of them. We did not get that at all. All we got was that, John tried to stop Steven's heart. That's all we got. And Steven lived. I actually would have wanted a cliffhanger, and Steven, might not have lived or something like that. I would have wanted something there. But no, he just wakes up and says, we have to find my father. That was totally anticlimactic for me. Totally anticlimactic. I was not a fan of that scene at all, and I wasn't really a fan of this episode. I was not fond of it. I think the problem is that Arrow is so good, and it's doing such a great job with, keeping me invested in the show, and there's so much going on. And in the Tommorow people, there's not a lot going on here. All that it is that Steven's trying to find his father, and we have the founder and everything. And I'm really just not a fan of this at all. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not really fond of it either. I'm not as into this show. Will I continue to watch this show? To be honest with you, I don't really know. I don't know if I'm going to continue to watch this show. Because it's not what I expected it to be. I really enjoyed the first half of the season when we got the flashbacks. Now I'm not enjoying it as much. I think that we should see more of these flashbacks. We should see more of maybe, there are more characters you could show, their futures, or what their lives were in the past. You could do that, but they're not really doing that, and I'm not really a fan of that. I'm not a fan of them stopping doing that. That was the best part of the show for me, and now that they're not doing it, I am no longer into it. So yeah, let me know what you guys saw this episode. For me, I didn't like this episode. I did not think it was all that good. I liked last week's episode a lot better. This one, I think they focused on the romance way too much. It was all about the love triangle. Even though Steven killed John's father, it's still all about the freaking love triangle, which nobody cares about. It's not... See, I would be fine if it was a strong love triangle, but there's nobody I like here. I don't like John, I don't like Steven, I don't like Kara. Okay, I like John a little bit because he only did this because he loves Jedikiah and everything, and Jedikiah was his father figure. Fine. But I still don't like that John just gets really easily angry, and he seems like he's okay with it, but then he's not. Kara's just very wooden, and then Steven is just, I don't like any of them. I don't like them. So that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you guys enjoyed this episode, but I don't know. This might be my final Tommorow People review. Probably will be, because I'm kind of just fed up with the show at this point. So I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be for Once Upon a Time. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.